Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is Tuesday, the 25th of March, and starting off with the FTSE 100, which is actually repeating the same setup that we had yesterday, a bounce off RSI 50 and a bounce off the 50-day moving average. That's around 86.30. Above that, we're looking for not only recent resistance, 87.40, but also a move to the top of the channel there, 89.70 by the end of next month. That's a punchy call, but punchy is good while we're above recent support. The February and recent support there around 86.20. That's probably the line in the sand at the moment. We do break down, not expecting anything worse than 84.80, which is January and March support. Moving on to the DAX, and here the picture, one of remaining within that rising trend channel from November. The floor there around 22,800. Above that, looking for the top of the channel there, now heading towards 24,300 by the end of next month. RSI bouncing at or above neutral 50 for the third/fourth time this month, so that looks very strong indeed. Let's see if the RSI, which is normally a very good leading indicator, comes up trumps. Don't think I've seen 3/4 bounces there for quite a long time. In fact, since the turn of the year, where we had also 3/4 bounces, and also in November, but at a lower level towards RSI 40. If we do break down the 50-day line there at 22,200, the favoured destination. Moving on to the Dow, which is the big one in terms of hopefully governing the other markets. Here we still actually have the RSI below neutral 50, even though we had a massive up day yesterday. Gap through the 200-day line and gap through a rising 200-day line. So we didn't get the chance to wait for an end-of-day close above the 200-day line to give us 43,000. It looks like the market wanted to do it almost in 1/2 days. We've got the 50-day line there, 43,400 is the favoured initial resistance for this market. And I suppose, given the way things have gone, we could almost draw a line like that in terms of that being the floor of the channel on the Dow at the moment. But maybe one can refine that over coming days. The other point, I suppose, is that if that lower parallel is as I've drawn it, then the upper parallel would be heading towards 46,000 over coming months, maybe by the end of May, if everything went correct for this market. Downside at the moment, hopefully limited to 41,300, and ideally we stay above the 200-day moving average at 42,000. Moving on to Bitcoin, where we remember fondly the person who went short of $332 million worth of Bitcoin at 84,000. They are now around $3,000 offside, which may not be a lot to them. But above the 200-day moving average, 84,800, we're looking for the 50-day line. And former support there at 90,000 as the initial resistance for this market. Good to see the RSI back above neutral 50, although grudgingly so. Worst on the downside is seen as 81,000, the floor of that channel, which may give our shorting friend a bit of a respite or chance to get out if they feel like it. Moving on to gold, where I suppose everyone will tell you that it's still above 3,000. They can read, and here you can see that although we are above 3,000, we've got still the risk of this market testing the old resistance there, 29.75, and the floor of the channel there as well, around the same level, that channel there from back in November. Top of the channel heading with 3,200, which is our best case scenario target for the end of next month. If we go below 29.75, worst case is 28.90, which is the 50-day moving average, although that doesn't seem very likely at the moment. Moving on to the stocks, and starting with Agronomics, where I attended a presentation by the company, I think earlier this month. Was spoilt by the biscuits that they provided, and interested also in the pet food, the lab-grown pet food that they make, which apparently is on sale somewhere in Brentford, if you're feeling like going around that area. But at the moment, we've got the shares breaking recent neckline resistance at 7.4 pence. Looking for them to not only break the March resistance there at 8.3 pence, but head up to as high as 10 pence, while we're above the 7.5 pence zone. RSI bounced twice above, or 3 times in the recent past above neutral 50, so this looks like a very strong situation. Moving along to ARC Minerals, where hopes have been high for, feels like years actually, on this situation. But what's interesting now, they've got a V-shaped rebound off the 200-day line. We've got a RSI rebound above neutral 50. So looking for at least 1.8 pence. Obviously, the best case scenario here, 2.5 pence by the end of next month. Moving on to Capital Metals, which has been, nearly hit our target there. We were looking for a retest of October resistance at 2.6 pence. Just missed it so far, but looking for that. And the next level up, actually, if we can get to 2.6 pence, would be the old April support from last year, as high as 3.4 pence, and looking for that by the end of next month. Upside value while we hold above 2.25 pence, the December resistance. Onto a stock which achieved greatness after being requested by a YouTube follower, and here you can see that the share is making further progress in that beautiful step fashion. So rising vertically, then sideways, rising vertically, then sideways, and doing that again. Initial target here, 4.4 pence. Best case at the moment up to the 50-day line at 5.5 pence, which I think, given how strong that charting setup is, we should see, hopefully, over the next couple of weeks. Could also draw a rising trend channel like this and suggest that the shares are going to head up towards the 8 pence area, but maybe that's a bit too much to take at this point. But upside valid here while we're above 2.5 pence, certainly on that situation. On to Capai, which I believe did an interview today, and that's why the shares are up 22%. I think if they'd done an interview with me, they'd be up considerably more, but that's a separate point. Here we've managed to hit our second target there, at 0.11. The first target was 0.008, and the third target there up to 0.19, which I suppose the company might get if it talks to me. Only back below 0.1 pence at this stage, really delaying the upside scenario for that stock. Moving on to EKF, which came up with a bullish-sounding RNS today, and always good to support companies in the biotech space. What's interesting here is that we had a gap down in February, and we've had two gaps up so far this month, which suggests that we've got a very strong technical situation, and also that the bears have been wrong-footed. Top of the channel there, the rising trend channel base at 27 pence, and that's valid while we're above the first gap at 20 pence. So let's see. BKF can do that, or achieve that. GSTechnologies is back in business as well. W-shaped turnaround here after a bear trap below 1.5 pence. Breaking that neckline resistance there at 2 pence above that, looking for not only the shares to fill the gap at 2.4 pence, but also to hit the top of that rising trend channel as high as 3.8 pence, or even 4 pence if I draw it correctly, 4 pence. Perhaps as soon as the end of next month. The company continuing to build its market cap towards the 50 million mark there at the moment. Only back below the 50-day line at 1.75, really scuppering the upside scenario. Moving on to Georgina, where for some reason the crackpot defamation that the company seems to have been getting from some certain psychotic quarters seems to have dried up, which is obviously interesting. We've got the initial resistance here at 7 pence and 7.6 pence. Best case scenario target here, which we said before, up to 10 pence, which is basically the 200-day moving average. We would get back, well, hopefully we can get back near that. We haven't been up near that 200-day line since the stock came to market, so that would be quite an achievement. But looking for 10 pence plus by the end of next month, at least, and also helped by the way that we've had a couple of bounces at RSI 50, and also we have the 50-day line rising, so it looks as though Georgina is on its way, especially after breaking recent resistance near the 7 pence level. So be thankful for that. On to GCM Resources, a stock which has been championed here, and here first, second, third target has been hit. Fourth target at 7 pence. And remember, I try and go for realistic near-term targets, not pie-in-the-sky ones, but above 4 pence, looking for 7 pence here on GCM, and it looks as though the share's happy to deliver that. On to Fevertree, which is not in alphabetical order because I have GCM afterwards, but here, beautiful U-shaped turnaround against a rising 50-day moving average. RSI rebound above neutral 50, you can argue there are two there, so looking for at least £9 here after a decent update from the company, while the shares are above recent resistance at £7.75, and maybe the company, as I have a theory, will be looking at a potential M&A situation, given that alcohol companies are currently on the back foot. Moving on to Premier African, where Mr. Roach is still fighting and delivering a 30% rise in the share price. We've broken out of that falling wedge, and we're above the floor of the gap there as well, 0.013. At least while we're above that resistance line there at 0.015, looking for 0.025, obviously fundraisers et al. Permitting. There is a gap to fill there, so 0.017, and then up to the 0.025, but obviously these micro numbers are a bit of a mouthful on that stock. Finishing off once again with Westminster Group, which day by day seems to be doing better and gathering momentum. The unfilled gap to the upside at the beginning of the month was the giveaway, as was the break of the 50-day moving average around 1.4 pence. Current situation is we're still looking for 2.6 or 2.7 pence now by the end of next month, or even sooner, maybe by mid-April. That could happen. We've also got a rising 50-day line to help the cause. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.